Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pommyinoz. Hope we're all doing really well. I tell you what, it's a wee bit warm, isn't it? It's getting intense. I've got to say, for if you're a fair-skinned Pom like myself, still the sun does not agree with me. But welcome back. It's great to see you. If you are new around here, though, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Means the absolute world to me. We're just about to get to the next milestone of 1,800. The dream is round 1, 2,000. If I can do that, that beer will taste mighty refreshing on the first round game, which will be grouse. You can also join the channel like these legends here. They do that. That is sick. They're a big part of the community. I love them all. Their names down the bottom. You can do that. Link is in the description. Big Stuart McQuaid won last week's poster as well, interestingly enough. So that is on his way to the big McQuaid dog. So thank you. All you've got to do to enter to win the JSOS one is just comment, really. Like and comment on the video. And one of my children will present the winner. We've had David and we've had little Zane has done it. So we might get the wife, maybe. She might partake in it. Who knows? But if that's something that does tickle your fancy, you can purchase them yourself as well. Order cutoff is the 12th of December for these. Pommy Sports Almanac is all you need to know. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about what is Carlton? What is it? And what does 2022 look like? And let's start off firstly, the Wednesday game. Let's cover that because that has been in my inbox a lot. And Carlton, obviously not the season opener. We're still Thursday, but still Richmond, but that's changed. And I think that that's part of the culture problem. And I think that's what Voss and on a bigger scale, Luke Sayers, on a massive scale, Cook has got to address. And it's Carlton living in the past. You see it with my team United. They remember the glory days. I saw it with Rangers, and we know that I'm a huge Rangers fan, that they kept living in the past. And sometimes you've got to understand that you can honour the past, but you don't get the respect from other teams because it's a yearly thing. And I kind of like it's been taken off us. And I'll tell you for why. One, we don't deserve it. Like, if we're honest with performances, we're no better than Gold Coast. You take away the 16 premierships, the last one was 95. Do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of winners, do you know what I mean, in that period. There's 26 of them. So, I mean, if you think about it, we're the 27th best team in history in recent memory. So, for me, I don't mind it. I think it's an honour. I kind of like the champions rematched. I kind of like it. I would have liked to have seen something along the lines of, the winner of the ladder versus the winner of the thing, or first versus second, just as a curtain raiser. I kind of like the way the EPL do it as well. It would be nice to see like a pick one versus the champion. So North versus that. I know it's not a spectacle, but I think it's got to be something for the partial observer to enjoy. And like for me personally, I look excited about seeing a pick one play. And genuinely, the pick ones do play very early. So that would have been my pick. I don't mind it because I think it's something that you're looking for motivation. You've got to look for motivation in anything you do. And for me, losing game one, knowing that I can get it back by winning the flag and putting Carlton back on the map where it belongs to, that's good. Because to me, when I see people complain about losing round one, I look at it as an opposition fan. And I think weakness, pettiness, look, insignificant. Carlton don't care about winning flags. They care about being there Thursday night as the first game. 100k are going to go to Carlton if you played it Sunday 4:15 in Nepal. So the AFL know that. So for me, it doesn't bother me. I kind of like it in the way that it might take the pressure off them a little bit. They are the curtain raiser. They can go a little bit under the radar. If it was me as a footballer as well, I'd probably feel a bit like my nose is out of joint. And who the fuck are these idiots? I'm going to take it back. So I kind of like it. Now, let's talk about the year. What is a success? Now, I genuinely, even though the club don't say it, I think finals is a success. I think finals is a success. And I'll tell you for why. I think when I look at the numbers that Carlton did really bad in compared to the 8, so I'll take tackles inside 50. I'll take tackles. I'll take clearances to advantage. I'll take even disposals. That says to me that it's a lack of understanding of the raw mechanics. So if you take any sport, soccer is a great example. Ralph has got that problem with United. If you don't control the football, you don't control the ball you're playing with, and you also don't control your manners of getting it back, you ain't going to be good. But the good thing is these are the fundamentals, the basic fundamentals. Every kid in Australia will have been taught how to kick and handball a ball. Everyone knows about possession and how to kick and mark, the basics. And tackling, it's a rudimentary bit of passion. It's a rudimentary bit of desire, a little bit of pride. Now, I think that comes from structure. So a great little example of how quickly this could turn around is if you look at United this weekend under the new coach. They were a lot more disciplined. They were a lot more intent to get the ball back. And sometimes when you watch Carlton play, their intent to get the ball back was always with a secondary objective of not conceding. So naturally, you sit back, you get more into a defensive set, which then creates space in front of you, which creates control for the ball to be possessed. So if you watch Port, Carlton invariably were quite good at getting back behind the ball. The problem was they left pockets of space in front of them, which Port then could build chains, which then as they got closer to our line of defence, it naturally pulls you out of position. And when that happens, the space in behind the back, when that happens, it's game over. Invariably, we saw Dixon 3-on-1 with Wheater in, 3-on-1 with Plowman a few times. And that happens. And that is really easy to fix. And one of the ways that you fix that, if I was Voss, is I'd look at the way that we work around contests. Carlton invariably were very defensive in all their contests. Teague liked to play that extra behind the ball and kind of have that safety net, which is understandable if you're shit. It really is. But the train of thought when you look at other sports, and this is why I asked Luke Sayers that question, are Carlton actively looking overseas at the next thing that all the sports sides are doing? And you're finding that particularly in the round ball, offensive defence has been the manner of the game. Look at Liverpool, the Gengen press. You look at Pep Guardiola's side. You look at Ralph's side as well. It's about pressure. It's about being bold and putting a lot of pressure on very quickly at the point of losing it, which then creates pressure on the ball carrier, which then forces mistakes. And I'd like to see Carlton roll a bit like Melbourne. This is one thing that Melbourne did. Everyone always talks about Choco Williams and makes out like he's like some kind of superstar. He's not really. What he did is he just basically got them around contests and around their midfield work with natural spread, so the wingers didn't get drawn in. You watch Carlton, our wingers nip in, taking away the exit from the centre, which creates more congestion, which makes it easier for me to turn the ball over and then hit you on the outside where you haven't got runners, because wasting time running laterally isn't very good in a defensive set. So all he's got to do there really is just roll a player in front of the contest and say, you know what, we're going to win this. We're going to win this. And when we win it, we've got the man there to create a chain. And it changed quickly. As with the tackles, what I'm looking at from Carlton is being in position to tackle. The problem is attempted tackles were low as well. So you can't even have a go at the club and say, oh, they don't tackle, they're all soft. All that nonsense. The cold hard facts are that when Carlton lose the ball in the last 2 years, they haven't been there in a position. Now, I think that comes from the fact that they know they're bad, or they're being coached poorly. They're being coached that they're never going to win games unless everything goes right. So they're more worried about getting into a position where the player is, as opposed to where I should be to stop the problem now. And I think personally that listening to Voss speak and the coaching he's got there, that's quite a simple change of being ready. You talk about Ralph Rangnick, he talks about the 8-second bleeper to get the ball back quickly. I'd love to see something like that at Carlton, especially with the forwards, because last year, only one forward, Matty always had more than one tackle inside 50 per game, which is appalling. It is absolutely abhorrent. Like the tackle inside 50 count last year was absolute banter. The two ones for me that kill us is that and our ability to contain possession. We look for direct passes. We don't look to control it a little bit with impetus. It's all right controlling the football and just having possession for possession's sake, but you've got to control it with a plan in mind. If you watch Melbourne, they're very clever at doing it. They're like, we'll go across here. Okay, that's not working. We'll switch it back. We'll go back in the corridor. They're always moving it with intent. So they're the two things that I'm looking for. And that will be sorted really by one thing: positioning on and off the ball, making sure you're in your role and being happy with it. And you've got to trust your system. And that's something that I think Voss has got a big challenge. I think when you look at Carlton's list, though, in my opinion, I don't know what you guys and girls think, It's not a bad list. Like, you look at it and you look at the first 25 names. Let's just say you mentally have them in a rating like FIFA. They're not bad names. They're not bad names. And I know you'll probably get some fans from other clubs saying, "Oh, we're overrating our list." I don't think we are, because there is some real solid players there. Like, you look at Sam Doherty. I think he could be a real ace in the card because he's returned to training. If they do play him on the wing, you've got a user there who I do think in the last couple of years, if anything, his defensive efforts have been a bit questionable. It's been more his ability to find the ball and use it has been the benefit for him. And his intercepts. Now, if Counter are more offensive, you're going to see a lot of intercepts come in the midfield. That's what happens against us. Teams intercept it in the middle of the park and then get the ball going, and it screws us, completely screws us. We have that asset there. I also think that when you look, you've got a lot of players there that have been precipice of All-Australian, if not All-Australian. So when you've got Wheatering, who is technically should be All-Australian, you've got Walsh, you've got Cripper, he's been All-Australian, you've got Harry, he is All-Australian. There's a lot of players there for a team to not be in the 8. Because if they're considered best 18 in the country, it's not a bad list, is my argument. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like years ago where it was just Cripps and then there was just like 17 guys. You've also got thrown in the mix that Adam Chera, potential All-Australian. Adam Sard can play All-Australian. Sam Dock has been All-Australian. Do you know what I mean? And then you go a bit forward of the ground. There's always a small forward that surprises. So you've got Jesse Motlop. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to be All-Australian, but them type of players do sneak in, a la Eddie Betts. Do you know what I mean? A la Liam Ryan. Do you know what I mean? A la Charlie Cameron. These players, them type of players, them real inspirational footballers can be. So I look at this list, and I don't know what you lot think, but I genuinely think you change the ability to control when you're in possession, your positional base, and also you're in and around the ball position. Don't set up to be defensive and concede it. Set up to win it. And suddenly you'll start to see some changes because this team ain't bad. So my expectations on the 6th of December are finals. I can't see how we don't play finals in my mindset. And I think that when you've got a few players there who are going to naturally improve, I think we haven't seen the best of some players. And I think the Liam Jones thing is grossly overrated. And I'll tell you for why. I think he's a very good player, but I also am privileged to do this role where people vent to me post-game. And I'd say Liam Jones and Plowman are the two that 1 week you love them, 1 week you hate them. I'm the same. So I don't see it. And then I look at Lewis Young, who's more of a defensive-minded, stay-at-home fullback. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, if he's there in the key position and then Wheatering's roaming, we have a little bit more structure like all the other teams. They don't have 2 key positions intercepting like we do, which creates chaos. They have one who just stays there, and he's like Harrison Petty at Melbourne. He's just like stood there like a big lummox. You know what I mean? Like Lurch from Adam's Family. And it's May and Lever who are moving around. Makes more sense to me as a fan. So I think he's really good. So my expectations is I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think we'll finish 6th. And I think we'll win a final. I think we will. I don't think we're going to win it, but that is my prediction. And that is because I just think it's very simple things. And if it's not changed very early doors, Voss is definitely not the man, because I don't think that is a big ask. And I implore you to go and look. I know some people don't like soccer. I know some people don't like rugby and basketball and NFL. But honestly, it's really good for your mind to see how quickly new coaches can change it, because there seems to be a myth in Australia that you need a coach to coach for 6 years to change it. Good coaches get changes very quickly because genuinely it's a positional thing. And it's not hard. You've only got to do it at work. It's very easy for me to say, just stand there. No, move your desk here. Oh, cool. It's changed. I mean, that's not a big change. Like, he or she gets used to that in about 10 seconds. Oh, I sit here now. All right, cool. It's not a big issue. And it's the same with the sports team. When you're talking positional sense, it's not hard. Ball movement and things like that, they're a little bit harder. But positional things, which then aids the ball movement, because a great example of positional movement is when Carlton do intercept on the wing. How many times do you see players run away from that guy? Not one person does. Plowman is a great benefactor of this, because half the time he turns it over, he's actually done the wonderful thing, got the ball back. And he's locked up, and he's near his guys 30, 40 metres down on the wing. No one's running to him. And then you watch good thirds who are working hard. May, he's got a guy running at him all the time. He's got the easy ball. He's got the easy ball. He's got the outlet. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to take off more than he can chew. So that's my thoughts. I'd love to know what everyone else's thoughts are, where they are. Where do you think the improvement's coming from? I'm looking forward to it. We've got some more FM content coming up in the next week. Can't wait to do that. We've got some FIFA content coming up as well. I'm going to do some lives as well. So let me know. We're going to be doing some objectives and stuff. So you basically hung around chatting to me, which is great. More Carlton content, more football content, loads more coming up. Can't wait to see you all. Till next time.